I would go get all these records and I would dig through them and like listen, and I would put them in stacks for Kanye to come listen to. And he would come to the studio, listen to them, mark them, which ones he liked. Okay, he marked it. This is one of the ones I love. Go ahead and hook it up. But we created this album, and it was the coming together of two artists who were like really excited to work with each other. He knew where I needed to go as an artist, and I also knew that I could challenge him as a producer. B began in 2003 with me coming off a really difficult time in my life. One of the hardest times in my life as a professional, and also the combination of professional and personal. Because I had just released the album, it was Electric Circus that people were like, man, Common has lost it. The audience that really resonated with my music, which was a hip hop based audience, just wasn't like into me going out there doing something that eccentric. Then on a personal level, I was in a really like deep relationship that had just dispersed. It went away in a tough way. It wasn't easy. So I was learning a lot of life lessons at that time. I was really like wondering where my career was going. Can I make more albums? It so happens at that same time, Kanye, who was a friend of mine, he had always talked to me about producing for me. At this point, it was like, man, Ye, let's do some work. The essence of what I loved in hip hop, samples, boom bap, drums, Kanye was right there with it. But I also would challenge him in a way that was like, no, this is not right for, we gotta make a full album, and I don't want these songs to sound exactly alike. I mean, if you listen to some of Kanye's albums, he'll be like, Common passed on this beat, I turned it to a jam. Because the albums that I had grown to love and were timeless and really affected me, like these albums that had sounds to them, like where you just put it on and it's a sound, but all the songs don't sound alike. The first piece of music I got from him, he called me, said, come by the studio. He was producing for another artist. And I walked in the studio and he had this beat playing, and it was The Food.
Yo, you love to hear the story again and again about these young brothers from the city of where, like juice and gin in the city we blend.
He was looking at me like, okay, what do Rashid think about this? And I was like, yo, this cold, bro. What's up with this? Like, He was like, okay, we in this person's session. Take this beat and go. And I took the beat and I got in the truck. I was riding and I started writing, because that's how I really enjoy writing. It's like riding around. We were offered the opportunity to perform on the Dave Chappelle show, which was my favorite show on television at the time. He said, man, initially he wanted like he wanted a lot of big name artists to be on the show, but some of them weren't like being as accessible. We had formed a friendship and an admiration. We used to go hear him do stand-up at the Comedy Cellar in New York, just going out. Like, he would be in the studio with us, and then we go to hear him do comedy. So he was like, man, let me call my friends. And like, when we recorded it, we got there, and they wanted us to do it in this like earthy, like, it had candles lit, and you know I like all the candles and stuff like that, but it wasn't the vibe for the song. So we walking around the set, and we like, man, this kitchen right here, the name of the song is The Food. We just changed the whole production, like, look, we're gonna film it right here.
Go, 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 and on the count of three. Go, 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 go. On the count of three, everybody run back to your fantasy. Now,
Kanye was a real just connector. I hadn't met John Mayer, but I definitely knew John Mayer was dope. He was like, man, let's all go to the movies. We went to the movies. We saw Ray. We was inspired by the movie. We went to the studio that day and just made a lot of songs. John sang on at least 3 or 4 songs. When we came up with Go, and Kanye made the beat for Go, Kanye started chanting that go, go, go. John just started singing that, go. He was like, that's it right there.
And on the count of 3, everybody run back to your fantasy. Now, she was up bad, the type at the club would grab her. Fantasize when I had In the bathroom sweating with a suck.
Our creation had to be like just whatever spontaneously comes out. Some things worked, some things didn't. When John did that go, like we was like, that's it, John. And it led me to think, you know, because Kanye had already did the hook. It led me to think like, what is my fantasy? I talk about, you know, threesomes on it, like, you know, just sexual things. It's just fantasizing about them things. And yeah, that's what Gold became, that song.
She walked in the court, her knees buckled, saying for a man it's
Some of the things that makes me feel like really, like this album means so much to me, but why it means a lot is because different people come up to me from different walks of life and tell me, B, man, like that got me through high school. I'm like, wait, damn, that was, you know, that you was a young person, and I'm like, I never think that like I was early 30s and making that album and somebody in high school could relate to my stories and feel like it touched their spirit. But it reminded me of the fact that I did used to, as a kid, listen to Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson or Marvin Gaye. They were grown people that was speaking to my soul. I'm grateful that people could say that this album has spoke to them in different ways. I've had a dude tell me he was over fighting a war and he would play this album to like make him feel like it was some hope. And I'm like, that type of stuff is, man, it's just, you never know what music can be.